Welcome to The Grapevine. My name is Nami, and with me is my co-host, Lynnda. Hey,
Hello.
Lynnda. Hi. How are you today?
I'm good. I just took a nap.
You just took a nap. That's
Yes.
good. Naps are good. So, for the first episode, we're going to talk about what is Death Blossoms. And to answer this question, our guests today are none other than our lovely admins, Amna and Demi.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, everyone.
So, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I am getting over a sickness, so I'm going to try to mute myself when I cough, but I may not catch all of them, so apologies in advance.
That's okay.
It's the podcast experience.
Yeah, totally. So when did you guys first hear about Death Blossoms?
Me, go ahead.
So for me, it was, I'm going to need some dates. When did we exactly start?
December
December.
2016, right?
Okay, that sounds right. Yeah.
This time December or January. It was like
It was
The server was-
December.
The server was technically created at the very end of December.
Yeah. And I came in like at the very beginning of January. So for me, it was, well, like for any background for anybody that doesn't know, it was started by Melanie Mack. And then, I mean, now she's a pretty big streamer, and my one friend was a big fan of hers. And when she put out a YouTube video looking for girls that play Overwatch that want to make a team, he was like, Demi, you have to join. So that YouTube video basically turned into my first view of DB. I just came in as a member, and I fell in love immediately. So it was early January.
yeah, me too. Same thing. I was watching like her videos, and then like she announced that. I was like, oh, I could do that. Like I wasn't even playing Overwatch that much at that point, but I was like, oh, like I don't know. It sounded like fun, so I thought I'd give it a try. And yeah, so it was supposed to be like one team, but it ended up being several teams, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Got
which
such
was
a huge response, yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting coming in because then everybody's just competing for this team, but then it turned into these like amazing community game nights, kind of, where I guess you would call it now just like kind of pugs, but we all were trying to find our little home here.
Mm-hmm. Like I know, like I tried out, and I didn't think that I would make the team at all. I'm like, yeah, like those people are so much better than me. And then like she said like, hey, can you talk? I'm like, okay. And like what's up? She's like, oh, you made one of the teams as like tank. I'm like, oh, really? Like what? Then yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember seeing, I think it was a poll or survey or something she had posted on Twitter, basically being like, who wants there to be girl Overwatch? I'm like, well, I just bought this game and I'm very bad at it, but I'd like to make friends.
Oh, that was before she made her video, or?
I'm not sure. It's all kind of fuzzy to me.
Yeah, it's been like 2.5 years, or
It's
like
been
almost
a while.
3 years at
I'm
this
old.
point.
I don't remember anything anymore.
Yeah.
How about you, Amna?
The question being how I first came across DB.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I pretty much started playing Overwatch when it first came out, which was the summer of 2016. And I didn't really have anyone to play with, so I was kind of just playing by myself. And yeah, I made a couple of friends in game, but I didn't have like a community or network of gaming friends that I already knew to play with. And after a few months of doing that, I really just got sick and tired of playing with guys all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And also just, being a solo queuer, female player, you just get a lot of sexist comments thrown at you constantly. And
Oh, yeah,
I
for
just
sure.
it was really bad. I do have to say that it has gotten a lot better, but when Overwatch first came out, it was pretty awful. And so I just got really sick and tired of it, and I ended up Googling, all girls Overwatch team, because I'm like, there's got to be something out there, someone's got to be doing something. And I found Melanie Mack's YouTube video. That was actually the link that
Oh, cool.
started the whole thing for me. And so I watched the video, and I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I don't even remember what the video was called, but I guess like there was like Overwatch and like all girl in the title for you to find it.
Yeah, it came up for me. So I watched it and I didn't know who she was. But I liked her message. I'm like, I'm totally all for this. So, she put in I think it was an application, a link or something. I filled that out and got an invite to the server. Yeah, and then I think that's where all of our stories kind of progress from there.
Yeah, I think we're
people club here.
We're all like OG members. Yeah,
basically
the grannies of Overwatch.
Yeah, I remember like when they were forming like the teams for the tryouts. Like people were commenting that it sounded like a sleepover party or something in Discord because it's all girls together.
Oh my god, can you imagine a DB sleepover though?
It'd be so much fun.
Yeah. So like for me, I think because when I first started playing, I played like in the beta, and then like when the game came out, like my friends played for a while, so I was playing with them. But then I feel like they all like moved to like other games, but I wanted to keep playing Overwatch, but I had no one to play with really. So like I guess I was just looking for just people to play with. I thought it would be fun to play with other girls. I guess that's pretty much what you guys were saying also.
Yeah, I feel like mine was pretty similar. Like the group of people that I would play with kind of was moving on to the next game, but I still like loved Overwatch. So when and I'm a very competitive person, so when I see this video and like the thought of being on like an all girls team, again, like there's just so much toxicity, especially back then. So I wouldn't ever solo queue. So when I saw that, I was like, that's exactly what I want to do. And I just kind of I dove headfirst into DB. I tried to make sure I went to every event that there was. And when I found a team, I was like, this is it. I want to be on this team. And that eventually turned into becoming like a team captain and just kind of escalated from there.
Did you guys like all make one of the original teams or?
I did. I forget. I'm trying to think the first. Was there a Lotus? I feel like I was on.
I think there was. Yeah.
I think I was on a team with Sub in the very beginning.
Mm-hmm. I was on Snapdragon, and then I think they moved like a couple players around, and I think we got like 2 players from Lotus, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, because then Lotus split, made one other team. That team captain didn't work out, and then I stepped up, and then we made Eris.
That makes sense. Okay.
Eris, the team of like 20 million people.
Oh my God, I remember that.
Eris is the reason why we have member caps for our teams.
Sorry.
We're
just that popular.
We had like multiple iterations of our teams in the beginning, and we like shuffled people around and stuff based off their performance and also like how well people get along, because not everyone gets along all the time. And that's fine. Sure. It's normal. So I did get placed on the team. I don't remember the name of the first team.
Were you Dahlia or no?
No, I wasn't. Dahlia came much later. Well, not much later in the grand scheme of things, but that wasn't one of the original teams. I think we tried to make an original team, but we didn't have enough players to fill it, so it was kind of like half a team for a while. But okay. Nightshade was like...
Nightshade.
Yeah, I loved Nightshade.
Was Nightshade Melanie Mac's team, or like...
Well, see,
I don't remember.
There is a little bit of shenanigans going on there, because, like, you make friends, and then there's, like, people you really, really want to play with, and so I really, really loved all the girls in Nightshade and really wanted to play with them. So, we kind of, like, moved things around a little bit to make that happen. But yeah, no, because Melanie Mac and Esper, they originally were supposed to be, like, the main team, and have basically all the high-level players on that team. But then they didn't end up committing to the team. They had some IRL stuff come up or whatever. And so their priorities changed. And when that happened, I think the girls kind of decided that they wanted to make their own teams and not necessarily, if you were one of the high-level players, you pretty much could, how do I... Gosh. Okay, part of it is my memory's bad, okay? So you have to keep this in mind.
That's fine.
I should have prefaced that before I said anything. Preface with that. But So once they kind of like stepped back a bit, was when a number of us realized that we could like make our own team. And so like Nightshade kind of was like a team of like, I think we just got along really well. The 6 of us did. And so, yeah, that was like, I consider that like my first DB team, even though technically there was the team with Melanie Mac and Esper, but that one never really came to fruition because like I said, they stepped back.
So it was never like a full team?
Yeah, like I don't remember doing like playing many scrims and practices with them. It just didn't last very long. So like there was just some commitment issues there. So yeah,
it happens. But is that when like all the high level players moved to like Wolfsbane? I think it was.
Yeah, some of them went to Wolfsbane and then Nightshade as well. That was kind of like actually good memory. That's kind of when that happened.
So how did you guys become admins? Like how did that happen?
I was promoted to like I guess it would become like a moderator fairly quickly once I joined because so initially Melanie Mac and Esper's vision was to just have like one main all girls team, but then they had like 80 plus applications come in just from her video. And then they realized, like, okay, we have a lot of talent here, a lot of really skilled, just having one team. We were going to make this into a community that has multiple teams. And, oh dear, what was the question? I totally forgot. I'm so sorry.
So how did you become an admin?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so once I realized that, like, I could see that they were kind of overwhelmed by the response, I sent, I don't know who, a message. And I just said, like, hey, if you guys need help with anything, you just let me know. Like, I think this is when we started doing, like, the pugs that Demi mentioned, where we would just kind of, like, have game nights every night. And I was trying to, like, organize those because I tend to be pretty good with, like, spreadsheets and forms and stuff. So I, like, just reached out and I said, hey, if you want me to, like, take this bit over, I can totally do that. And so they were really kind of happy to have the help. And so I think I got promoted to moderator. And then from there, I got promoted to admin at some point after that. I don't remember.
Yeah, that's cool.
How about you, Demi?
Mine is a longer journey, and I became the collector of titles. So yeah, just to start as like just as a member, and then when Eris started and I became the team captain of that, I was running Eris for quite a while, and Eris actually turned into both an NA and EU team, so I became a team captain of like 2 teams.
That's okay, when they split up, or?
Yeah, so then eventually I was running both for a while, and then we just had the EU team break off, and that made Eucalyptus my babies. So they are little snake babies.
Koala snakes.
Koala snakes.
Yeah.
So after me basically running both of those, Amna kind of reached out and pulled me into a room, and I'm all scared. She's like, can you join this voice chat? And I'm like, yeah, of course.
I put a smiley face. Okay, I'm pretty sure I put a smiley face after that message.
We had to establish that when Amna wants you in a voice call, she has to add a smiley face.
Okay, that may have been pre-smiley face. That's true, yeah.
It's scary when an admin just messages you, like, out of the blue, Like, what did I do wrong?
I did agree then, but to tell whoever's listening, we are not scary. It'll be okay. And that leads to our voice call where Amna was like, I notice you're doing all of these things and you totally don't have to. But if you would like, you can become a recruiting officer and help us out. So my first role was actually recruiting officer, which I loved, but that's my first introduction to the many, 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 many DB Google Sheets.
Is recruiting officer still a thing? Like, I feel like I should know this, but...
Yeah, absolutely.
Tripid's killing it. Trust me, she's all in that.
Okay.
Yeah, all those welcome announcements, that's Tripid doing her recruiting officer things.
Okay, yeah.
I will say sense. Recruiting officer is the most work, but the most, like, behind the scenes work, if that makes sense. Because it is, like, there's a lot going into it, just so that we can keep our community kind of safe. So that was the first thing that I did, and I loved it. I did all, like, the interviews and introductions and everything, and that kind of then went into me helping run stuff, and then me becoming also an event organizer. So again, just collecting title after title, and eventually we had the need for it, and Amna again reached out to me, and at that time it was me and Homer, and asked if we would like to step up and be co-admins with her as well.
Demi, the woman of many hats.
Basically.
I just see something and I'm like, yep, I just want to be up there.
So like, since we were talking about it, out of curiosity, what do recruiting officers do exactly?
They go through, okay, so we have an application that you have to fill out in order to join Death Blossoms. And our recruiting officers are in charge of all of the applications. So they actually go through every application. And we ask in there for you to share any information about yourself, social media links, anything that can help us get a kind of perspective on what kind of person you are. And yeah, they actually go through whatever links you give us. If you give us like a link to an article that you wrote that, you know, you're proud of or something, which we've had that happen, like, yes, they will actually read it. So they do a lot of that legwork and just make sure that the members coming in are ones that, you know, would enjoy their time at DB potentially and, you know, would be a good fit for the community. And so after they, you know, vet through all the applications, they send invites to those who made the cuts. And then once that person comes in, we do a voice interview with every person that joins our server. And in that voice interview, we just, you know, go through, make sure you know, understand all the rules, if you have any questions about anything. And they do an overview of like all the activities that we have on our server and the things that we offer, that kind of stuff. So it's a very like intensive process, and really our recruiting officers do a whole bunch of work getting members into the community.
Yeah, that, and then not to mention then the follow-up of that is because we do have our activity requirement. So that's staying on top of who's maintaining that qualification in the server as well. So constantly going through lists of maybe ladies that have stopped communicating or are kind of just on the server.
How do you track like who's active and who's inactive?
Amna, do you want to talk about that? Because it's a little more technical, because we've gotten there.
Yeah, so we actually have a bot that we named Sombra that tracks the activity of everyone on our server. So we don't have to like individually track every person. We can run the Sombra bot, and she gives us a list of people who haven't, said anything on the server in, whatever time frame. But in addition to that, we do have some rules on our server that do give you exceptions. For example, anyone on a team in DB does not have to fulfill our activity requirements because being on a team counts as activity. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, any participation on the server, whether you're talking or participating in one of the tournaments or pugs or anything like that, those things do count as activity. And as I said, we have a Sombra bot that manages that for us, basically.
That's useful, because otherwise you'd have to go like through everyone and like
right.
Back in my day, that's what we did.
Yeah. Back in my day, there was a time on each profile. You had to walk 15 miles in the Discord.
Oh, I remember. God, it had to have been like 2 years ago. Me and Amna just sitting in a voice chat. And she would say a name, and I would type it in, and then we'd be like, "Okay, they talked," and she'd say the next name.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my gosh! We love Sombra. Okay.
So that means like people who just want to lurk, that's not the place for them, basically, because they have to actually like talk.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. So there's lurking, but then also having some like, what does DB provide for you? So if you're just reading, then it's not necessarily participating. But we have people that don't talk, but then attend pugs, or eventually like may not feel comfortable talking. So that's why we want to make sure we have those chats like Wholesome IRL and like even now the Minecraft server. So like something for everybody so that people want to participate.
Yeah, because otherwise, like, if people don't want to talk to anyone, like, why would they join like a community in the first place?
Yeah, like we're looking for, we always say like our community is about quality instead of quantity. We don't want a server with thousands of people in it. That would be easy. We could easily do that. We want a server where everybody feels like they're at home and we have something for them.
Yeah, I do love that as the community has grown, there, like you talked about, specific channels for things that aren't just Overwatch, like, here's some cute pictures of my cat, here's some cute pictures of my dog. Let's go put them in wholesome IRL. Or the one that I really love that you guys have made is the cooking blossoms.
Yes.
Because my God, I get hungry every time I look at it.
I don't even think I'm in that one.
Yeah, you don't want to. I mean, unless you want to be hungry all the time. Like, trust me.
It's good. Well, and I've shared recipes with people, and they've shared their own recipes with me. It's just really, like, it's nice, you know?
Have
I
you
love
guys
having
actually
a place where I
tried
can
each
ask
other's
questions about these
recipes,
things.
or-
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's cool. I'm like, I'm probably too lazy to cook, so like I would just look at the food.
Come
That's
to
my favorite
house.
part.
I'll make you dinner. I've already promised all of Eris, like, a giant dinner party.
Oh my god.
So you're more than welcome. You too, Amna.
Aw, thanks.
DB
Someone
dinner
should,
party.
like,
Make you
is
some
the-
butter
is the-
chicken.
Is the Overwatch cookbook out yet?
No.
I think it comes out in like November or something, right? Like around Thanksgiving.
I didn't even know they were making an Overwatch cookbook.
Oh,
Me
really?
either. Now I'm excited.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, like someone on, I think that at least one person on my team like that pre-ordered it, so like they're probably gonna make some recipes from it. So I want to see what
Oh,
that
that
looks
sounds
like.
fun.
Yeah, I'm sure other people in DB like know about it too, and I'm sure we're gonna hear about it in that channel once it comes out.
Oh, I am ready. I am ready for all of the recipes.
Actually, when you said Overwatch cookbook, my brain wasn't actually tracking what you said. And I thought you said the DB cookbook because that was something that we have discussed.
Oh,
about.
really?
And I was like, wait, how did you know
Oh.
about that? We haven't even said anything about it yet.
Well, now everyone knows.
That's a really cute idea.
That'd be pretty
I love
cool,
that.
though. Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody
Yes.
listening, if you'd like to see a DB cookbook, let us know.
Mhm.
Really, I just want Tripid's recipe for anything.
Yeah,
It's like
she
the-
can
there's
do all of our
people-
desserts.
There's people from like several countries in the community, so like there'd be recipes from pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be pretty neat.
Trust me, that channel, there's like food where I'm like, what is that? It looks delicious. I've never seen it before in my life. I love it.
There's also like a fitness channel, right?
Yeah. I love
It's
that
right
channel.
next to the cooking channel.
Just to guilt you afterwards.
Right.
No, I mean, you can eat what you want and then you just work it off later, right? That's why
Yeah.
they're next to each other.
Yeah, that makes
Amna,
sense.
you're so... I love the hopefulness in your voice there.
It's just PMA. Don't worry about it.
So like if someone's listening and they're not in Dead Blossoms, like how do they go about joining? Like what's the process basically? I know you talked about a form earlier, but
Yeah, so we do have, basically you can, super easy, just go to our website, deathblossoms.gg, and we have our application form right on there, or even on our socials, so Twitter, same thing. So basically that's just going to navigate you to our form that you're going to fill out. And as we mentioned, we do have a server cap, and we like to keep like people that are interested and want to participate in the community and find those people. So the more people provide on that application, the more we know how interested they are, and then the faster we can get an invite out. So we always stress people always just want to fill it out real quick, and then we don't have any info, and then Tripit has to reach out to them and find them on Discord and get more information. So the more information that we're given, the better. But after that application is submitted, that's when our recruiting officers do their job and kind of dive right in. If it's a great application, they reach out, send them an invite, and then that will get you into the server as a recruit, and you'll have your little, I guess, tour guide with the recruiting officer, and they'll explain everything about the server and have you agree to the rules, and that's when you get your nice little warm DB welcome.
there's like a trial period, right? I forget like how long that is.
Yeah, so
2
basically when somebody comes in, again, we just want to maintain, especially as somebody as a recruit, like once you're here longer, we understand you may, like life happens. You may not be as active, but if you're a recruit, like we want to see your smiling face and see how you want to participate. So during that 2 weeks, our recruiting officers just keep an eye out on activity, make sure that you're a good fit, and then after that, you would get promoted to a full member.
Oh, that's cool. So why would people want to join like a community like Dead Blossoms? Like what does DB offer to like girls who want to join all girl community, stuff like that?
Well, it's kind of like, I mean, it depends on you, right? I had that experience of just playing by myself and having to play with a bunch of boys all the time. And most of my matches, I would maybe even say back then, I would just get hate for being a girl. I got sick of that. So I really wanted to just connect with other girls that played games and, create friendships and teammates and all that. I was all about it. It's very male. I feel like I picked up gaming kind of later in life compared to most people. And so when I came in, I was just kind of like, whoa, this is like a super male dominated space. I was very kind of caught off guard there.
You didn't know?
No, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. So I was very, not only surprised that it was super male dominated, but also just by how kind of toxic it can be, especially if you're a woman. So I was kind of like craving that. Like I wanted those female relationships in this gaming space. So, for me, that was valuable. I guess it would just depend on you and what you're looking for in your gaming experience. Like for some people, they don't care who they game with. It makes no difference. They have no, if you're a woman gaming, some women don't experience toxicity, and that's great.
They're lucky.
Yes, definitely consider them some of the lucky ones. But that does happen, and that's great. I'm glad they don't have to go through that. But for many of us, we do have those experiences, and I think it helps connecting with those who sometimes share in those experiences, so you have someone that can like understand what you're going through, and you have that kind of support system. And also just, I don't know, I think female gamers are awesome. Like, super fun to play with. I enjoy it very much.
Since you mentioned like you got into gaming like later, just out of curiosity, how did you get into gaming?
My then boyfriend, now husband, actually introduced me to gaming. My very first game was Borderlands, and I love that game. It was so good. Like, what a great first, right? Anyway,
yeah,
yeah, good taste, Amna.
Yeah, so
your husband has good taste.
That was the first game that I ever first PC game I ever played, and I totally fell in love with it. I was playing that sniper dude, Mordecai, was that his name? Anyway.
I think so.
So I was like attracted to him, and I started playing him, and I just enjoyed him so much, and my husband, then boyfriend, was like, hey, you're not that bad.
Okay. You're not that bad.
I was actually better than him, okay? I'm kind of downplaying this a little bit.
He thought you'd be bad because you never played before? Or like...
I mean, I don't know what he thought. I just know that I played for like maybe a few weeks, and then I noticed I was actually better than him. And he's been playing for like 20 years, so I think that's quite an accomplishment. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so he got me, Borderlands isn't really PvP, and then he introduced me to, oh gosh, Global Agenda, best game ever.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what it is. It's a high-res game from back in the day. I don't remember the year, 2010, I think, something like that. Anyway,
2010 wasn't that long
yeah,
ago.
exactly.
I was like,
what? Back in the day in 2010.
That's when I picked up gaming, was that year, actually. But anyway, so that was my first PvP game. Totally loved that game. It was super awesome. And then, so that was kind of like where my gaming journey began.
So you never like played games on like console or anything before? I
mean, like when I was really, really young, I played like Super Mario Brothers on Nintendo, like when I was like 8 or something. But like, no, I didn't have that. Like most of the gamers I know, they have this experience of like playing like actual competitive games. Whether they're in high school or middle school, whatever. And like, I didn't have that. I just had that really early experience of when I was really young playing in like Mario Brothers. And then I was introduced to Borderlands basically in my mid-20s. So
I've been playing games pretty much since like my dad had like an Intellivision. Then my parents got the first Nintendo a few years after it came out, and I've been playing like since then. Like basically I've had like every Nintendo console, and then I got a PS2 and Xbox, and yeah, and now it's making me feel bad because you're better than me at Overwatch.
No, we all have our own skill sets. It's not a comparative thing at all. Unless you're my husband, then I just rub it in his face.
I mean, those are true relationship goals of bragging about who's better at the game.
This is true.
And how about yourself, Demi?
So yeah, I guess the exact opposite of Amna. So I was kind of fortunate enough, like younger, just always playing video games. I remember kind of hitting that phase as like a girl where I'm like, I'm not supposed to play them because I have two older brothers and then a twin sister. So like we would watch them and then I'm like, well,
Why were you not supposed to play them?
I don't like, it was always like that was for the boys. And I guess that was just always in my face. Like the boys are playing that, we go play with like our Barbie dolls or something. But after just like watching so much, we'd be like, well, can I do this? And I remember playing like the first Metal Gear. I was so young, and I'm just like, I just kind of want to play it.
Like the Metal Gear, like on Nintendo.
No,
Or you mean,
like PS1.
Oh,
yeah, Metal Gear Solid. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Metal Gear.
I was too young to understand what I was doing, and then like our family nights just turned into us playing Tekken, and every new
Tekken is fun.
every new Tekken that came out, like we got the PS1, PS2, and the whole family would just fight. It was great.
That's utterly delightful.
Oh my god.
And so yeah, and then I remember like a kind of preteen Demi going through again, like, oh, girls shouldn't play video games. I shouldn't really be doing that. And then I just hopped right back into it. Like with my Xbox 360, I got super into Call of Duty. And that, yeah, I mean, that even, I kind of always gravitated toward like a female only space. So like I was even part of a group that's even starting to come back now called Ladies to Die For, which was like a Call of Duty clan. So I wound up eventually starting to run that as well, and I did that for quite a while. And after I kind of fell out of love with Call of Duty and then eventually fell in love with Overwatch, now I found my DB family.
Aw.
You have a very long history of just like being an organizer and administrator of like all these gaming spaces for women. I'm really impressed by it.
You know, if it could be my full-time job, I would dive right in. I love it.
It's kind of like you were saying, like you felt like you weren't supposed to play games because it's like for the boys. Like I've never had that feeling at all. So like I'm curious if there's like it's like that for a lot of girls, and if that's the reason why they don't get into gaming until later.
I think it's definitely friendlier now. I don't know if any of you played Call of Duty like back in the day, Call of Duty, but it was very much like don't talk on mic.
Oh really?
Yeah, like I mean,
I played Halo. Like I think the first one I played online was like Halo 2. And yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
it's kind of the same thing. Call of Duty was probably the worst, and that's where I found like that other group of women that played, because I found a YouTube video of like what happens when girl gamers talk in COD, and like it's just, and I saw these women kind of embrace it, and like all of a sudden one girl would talk and everybody would flip out, and then there's like 10 other girls in the chat, and then they start saying like don't talk to her that way, and I was like, that, I love that. So I want to be a part of that. And I think like Overwatch is a lot more female friendly now, especially with like the endorsements that they added in and everything like that. But that was very much not the space before. I remember not even telling people in high school that I would play Xbox. Like I would go home and play by myself, and meanwhile I hear all the guys in class being like, oh, you're going to be on tonight. And I'm like, I didn't want to tell them that I played.
I played games in high school, so like I wasn't one of the popular girls, I'd just say, and like people thought it was just like super nerdy. So I feel like now kids did like bring their games to school. Like I know like a few years ago people would just bring Pokemon to school and stuff, but when I was in high school, if you like brought a game to school, you were like, people would just make fun of you for it basically. Like didn't matter if you were like a guy or a girl. I don't know, I feel like gaming is more like it's more accepted now, like it's more
yeah, like
you know,
gaming culture is kind of the thing right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was definitely. Oh, sorry, Amna.
Oh, I was gonna say you can get a college scholarship for
Yeah?
playing video games now.
Yeah, that's
I was
true.
gonna say, Nami, that was definitely more of my experience being into like that kind of dorkier stuff growing up. And it's not like I per se never got shoved into a locker, but it was definitely like, oh, she's kind of a weird nerd. I guess go do your thing. Whatever. I won't bother you. Don't bother me with your Pokemon cards, though.
Yeah, like I had like that group, a group of friends, like all girls. I would hang out with them at school, but like I wouldn't really hang out with them outside of school, because I would hang out with that one friend that was not part of that group, and I just like played Nintendo 64 with her and stuff. It was kind of like separate. I don't know.
So I'm just a little surprised. So I'm surprised by you being surprised, Nami, that when Demi said that she felt that it wasn't like she didn't feel like it was a welcoming space for girls. So you didn't have that experience?
I mean, it was just me and my brother, and we're like pretty close in age, and we just always grew up playing games together. Like, so I never had the feeling that, oh, he's supposed to play, but I'm not, because we always played together. So I don't know if it's because if people have like brothers are much older, or like they have several siblings maybe, and they have say like two brothers playing together, and they're like, oh, I'm not supposed to play with them because it was only like two players back then, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, but does that mean like you weren't interacting with other gamers really? It was just you and your brother. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I mean, there wasn't like online games weren't a thing when I was growing up, so maybe like that's why.
I see. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that was kind of more my experience too, Nami. Like, especially when we got the N64 and my brother and I would play through Legends of Zelda together. Because I'd be like, I can't do this part. I can't go to Jabu Jabu's belly.
Yes, we'd have the same save file. And sometimes there was like a boss fight. I'm like, can you do it? I can't do it. And like, we'd just like do the whole game together. And then once we finished it, we started our separate playthroughs. I don't know. That's kind of like how we did it back then.
We almost had a full out brawl with my older sister. So I have an older sister, and my brother and I are very close in age. We're only about 9 months apart. So we almost had a full out brawl with my sister because she wanted to play Pokemon Blue before us.
Oh my god.
And we totally ganged up on her.
Yeah, so I guess like it was just like me, my brother, and then we had friends over to play like Mario Party and stuff like that. It wasn't really like online. I think my first real experience with online games was when like the first Xbox came out, and I played Phantasy Star Online.
And then at that point did you start noticing that it was different to be a girl?
Yeah, like I never realized that until then, but I was already like in high school, so it was like, I don't know, I thought it was weird because I was talking and then people were like, oh my god, it's a girl, and I was like, what? Like, is that weird?
Yes,
It's
we're 50% of the population. Hello.
If you want to see two completely different ways of getting treated as a girl gamer, play Call of Duty and then go play an MMO.
Yeah.
Call of Duty, they will tell you the most horrible things in the world. In an MMO, they will give you all of their gold.
Yeah, exactly.
I do like free stuff.
Oh my god. I remember like when I well, I still play WoW, but like when I started playing WoW, there was this girl who was like I think she was in my guild at that point. And she didn't even pay for anything because like she just get all the guys to give her free shit all the time. and it actually worked, and I was like, why? Like, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, that for me, like, I like doing things on my own. So, like, when I started getting into MMOs and then, like, somebody finds out that you're a girl, all of a sudden it's like they want to hold my hand and teach me how to go through this dungeon, and I'll take you and I'll help you level. And I'm like, I don't want that. I can do that myself. So I can definitely see when people like embrace it. If somebody's like, oh, here's this extra rare thing, like, here, just take it. Like, it's not like, oh, I guess not. But it's definitely a completely different way and not a joyful way of being treated as a woman in gaming. Unfortunately,
I think what I hate the most is when you're playing a game and then like they start talking to you as if you don't know what you're doing.
Yep.
They're like that. I don't want to use the word like mansplain, but like that's exactly what it is.
I mean,
that's basically what it is, right? They're just like, oh, like, do you need help? Like, I'm like I know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know. It's just annoying. And like, I don't want to get offended because I don't want to seem like ungrateful or something that they're trying to help, but it's like, I don't need your help.
Exactly. And then you're stuck in this, like, how do I react? And like, I always try and be the nice person, and then all of a sudden you're stuck with this kind of person that's treating you that way, and that's not what you want. And like, what are you supposed to do then? Then be a bad guy?
But to get back to Overwatch, I think overall, I think it's not as bad as other games that I've played. But like, it does happen sometime when I'm playing, if I'm like solo queuing in comp and like I try to call out stuff, people are like, shut up. Like, I've had someone tell me that I'm not gonna let a girl tell me how to play this game, and I'm like, excuse me? Like, why does it matter?
Yeah, my background's very different from you guys because I didn't grow up playing video games. Like I came into it, like I said, like, you know, when I was 25 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, when I first started playing, like, I was actually shocked. Like, I know you're saying it's not that bad. I think that's because you guys, like, kind of maybe grew up with it. And I feel like there's a little bit of just kind of getting used to it because you've been around it for so long. Because from the outside, which is where I was at, coming into it, I was actually shocked. My first PvP game, like I mentioned, was Global Agenda, and I mained a sniper role in there, and I was a pretty good sniper.
Mm-hmm.
And I think probably most of the people I knew thought I was a guy. They just assumed I was a guy. And then, you know, of course, they'd hear me talk, and they know I was a girl, but the people who didn't know that I was, who didn't have that interaction with me, would just think I was a guy all the time. And then I guess at some point people started kind of recognizing who I was, and then I would get messages from people saying, "You're a guy pretending to be a girl, aren't you?" And I'm just like, well, I don't understand why people can't accept that I'm a girl that plays a sniper role. Apparently that was just like accepting a rainbow unicorn exists or something. But it was just it was a very weird experience coming from, like, you know, the real world into gaming world, where it was totally acceptable for, you know, people to just say absolutely sexist, horrible things to your face. Like, it was just, I was shocked. I really was. And I've gotten to a point where now I am used to it. Like, I think you guys are. But I do want to highlight the fact that you know, from the outside coming in, I do think it's an adjustment, just being like, you know, assaulted online for being a girl, basically. Like,
yeah, for sure. I think that the reason why is because I think on PC overall it's a lot less bad than like it was on like Xbox Live. I think
it was
like
worse
the
on
worst.
console.
Yeah, it was
It's
a lot
really
worse.
I've never
on
played console, so I don't know what that's like. It was worse? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's like a lot worse.
Oh my god, that's horrible.
I'm telling you, when I would play,
it's more kids like playing.
I
like,
don't
on
know.
console, but...
It's like, I mean, the stuff I've seen from my, like, the things I've received and the things my friends have received of PC are pretty horrific. But like, I remember playing a lot of PvP Dark Souls on console, getting legitimate, like, death threats.
Oh my god.
Like, why are you spending your time on this? Go outside.
Yeah,
I'm sorry you lost.
Yeah,
also,
sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, like, on console also a lot of what I got was like I would talk and people are like, I can't tell if you're a girl or like a 13-year-old boy, and like
I've gotten that too.
That's when you lean into it, though.
yeah, it's
I've
better to
definitely
be a 13-year-old boy than it is to be a woman.
I've definitely
Right.
like convinced somebody in Overwatch once that I was playing on my mom's Battle.net account.
really.
Yes. But I mean, to me, that's why communities like DB are so important, though, because like you were saying, Amna, like a lot of us who grew up with this kind of behavior are like almost not entirely desensitized to it, but you just have kind of been forced to put up a shell about it, which is not something we should have to do. But
That's true.
That's a bigger discussion we can have.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you'd like.
I
But
would
that's why
say-
I love coming to something like DB.
yeah, I would say, like, I 100% feel more comfortable now. Like, if I'm queuing in comp with my Eris girls or something, and it's just, say, like, 3 of us, I'll hop in voice comms, and if somebody says something, do you know how empowering it feels to have 2 other women come in and be like, don't talk to her that way?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, because
Exactly.
people still don't think that's going to happen. Like, oh, there's one girl possibly in any game at any time. And even if it's somebody I'm not queuing with and I hear another woman, like, that is... It again, empowering for me. So
Yeah,
I,
for
like,
sure.
and immediately I'm like, oh, like, come join us.
And I think one of the reasons it's not as bad in Overwatch is because I find there's a lot more girls playing this game than like other online games for some reason. Like, I feel like every time in comp there's at least like one other girl in like every match so far in my experience. It's really rare that it's gonna be like all guys. Like, it's usually maybe like 2 girls and 4 guys, but it's still more than like other games.
I definitely
And
agree.
Yeah, definitely. And I found too, Demi, speaking to standing up for yourself or standing up for people, you know, once you start doing that, even if it's really hard, it empowers other people to do it too. Like, I've definitely had a game where somebody was getting crapped on, and I just spoke up and I said, you can't talk to people like that. That's not acceptable. And the guy just shut down immediately, and someone else responded like, yeah, that's not cool. You can't do that. And I mean, it was kind of awkward because then the guy stopped talking, but it was better than him trash talking our DPS, who was a girl. But girls can't play DPS.
Yeah, exactly. like if you're a girl, and you're not playing Mercy, they're like, they think that like, what are you doing? Like, it's like, go back to playing Mercy is basically like the equivalent of go back to the kitchen or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like no matter what, they find something to put you back into a stereotype.
And it's funny because I can't play Mercy. Like, I don't play Mercy at all. So if someone tells me like, go back to Mercy, I'm like, I don't even play Mercy.
Like, you do not want me on Mercy, trust me.
Exactly. Unless you want to die. Like, that's fine with me.
Early Eris days, I think, what was it, Demi? The team was like half Mercy mains, half Diva mains. Something like that.
Yeah, because imagine like anytime you're trying to queue and then you're being told to play that. And like, I remember so many people being like, well, I just played Mercy because I had to. And like, now they're like amazing DPS players. Like, and I don't want to be like, maybe if they didn't find this community, maybe they wouldn't have found that they like a different type of role. But like, I've just seen it so many times where they're like, no, what, let me try this. And it makes like an open space to try something and get out of that stereotype.
Because I feel like a lot of, like, I don't want to generalize, but a lot of guys who play, like, they just want to kill things. So they play DPS, and then, like, a lot of girls, they're just, like, gonna fill, and that's why a lot of them ended up becoming, like, support mains, I'm guessing.
Well, there's a lot of pressure that goes into it. I started playing Overwatch as a DPS main. I'm a support main now, but I was a pretty hard DPS main back in the day. And
because you came from Borderlands.
well, Global Agenda, like I said, I played Sniper mainly, so I was like trying to learn Widow at first, but then I actually picked up Tracer, who ended up being the love of my life. And I had like a million hours on her, and I got pretty decent with her. But this was back when Overwatch first came out, and I don't know if you guys did start playing back then. I mean, I thought it was pretty bad. The sexism was really bad back then. And it was probably every other game, because I would use voice comms all the time because I'm trying to win games, you know?
Yeah.
It was probably every other game. I would just get some comments. Sometimes it wasn't anything that would like affect the game really, because it was just some sexist comment thrown at me once or twice. And I say that like that's not a big deal, right? Which is sad that I have to say that. But then sometimes like I've had multiple matches where one of my teammates threw because I picked DPS and they said girls can't play DPS, get off or I'm throwing.
Oh my god.
I mean, it's and it just makes you feel so bad, you know, like even though
it makes it feel like it's your fault,
even though it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. I literally, this was told to me like in spawn. The game hasn't even started. All I did was picked my DPS hero, and I was told to get off or else they're throwing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it wasn't like, you know, I was performing badly and they told me to get off. That wasn't it, which I'm not saying that's something they should be doing either, but still, you get my point. Again, this is back before, or not again, but this is before roll queue, so, you know, you can make decisions on that. It just makes you feel bad. And I think a lot of women, either they've gone through that experience of having that pressure, or they know other women, or they just know that's going to happen to them. Like, that's just part of, unfortunately, gaming culture, is that, you know, women are pressured out of DPS roles.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, on whether conscious or subconscious level, some women just decide that, you know, being told, you know, getting these sexist comments thrown at you, it's just not worth it. And so they decide that, okay, you know, I will play support. Now, I do want to add here that, you know, just because you are playing support as a woman doesn't mean anything beyond that you're just enjoying playing support. There are many women who just want to play support because that's what they love playing, and that's great. I'm just acknowledging that I do think there is a percentage of women who are pressured into that role because of the kind of examples I just gave you. Like, for some people, it's just not worth it to have to deal with that kind of pressure.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think when you look at the percentages of girls who play who main support, it's a lot higher than like guys. It's I mean,
wouldn't be
there has to
surprised,
be
yeah.
a reason. Like, it can't just be like a coincidence, you know? So I think that role queue is actually a good thing because it might, like, girls can just queue as DPS or tank if they want. And, like,
I love role
they're
queue.
gonna get to play, they're gonna get to play what they want without being told to, like, switch to support or something, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because you get what you get. I mean, like, I was really ambivalent about the idea of role queue at first, but after having played it for, how long has it been out now? Like, almost a month?
Yeah.
It's nice because you can't sit there and complain saying, well, we're losing because this person is playing as DPS and I should be playing as DPS. Well, then you should have queued as DPS then. That's on you. You can't blame the other person. Sure, maybe they're not great, but you can't sit there and whine about it because you picked what you picked.
But it's not that they're not great. You guys are at the same level. That's why role queue put you in the same match.
Exactly.
Like, as frustrated as you are with me right now, that's how frustrated I am with your gameplay, okay? Like, you're just as bad as I am. Don't even try it.
We're in gold together. There's a reason why.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like playing and it's like people are all in silver or gold or whatever, and people are like fucking bronze trash, and I'm like, you know, like, we're in the same game because we're at the same level. So if you're calling me bronze trash, that means you're bronze trash also. So, like,
come join the trash pile. It's safe here. It's okay to be garbage. I will accept you for who you are.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, you were saying like earlier that people were saying that you were pretending to be a girl, but there's also like a girl streamers that people say like, oh, like you're just on camera but you're not actually playing. It's actually like your boyfriend playing for you and stuff like that. And I think
gosh.
That's
like,
what I love. Like, people have to think of these like grand schemes.
right?
If a woman is succeeding at anything, it's because of X, Y, and Z. And like the things that they'll like put together and be like, yeah, so like on the off screen, it's actually her boyfriend, and then he's doing this, and then they use this voice changer. Like, who is doing this?
Ridiculous.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
Yeah, so I think one of the things with DB is like I feel kind of like validated in that it is like something that happens because I have a YouTube channel that I'm really bad at like updating, but like I made a video like a couple years ago about what girls deal with in like gaming, and like there were a lot of angry comments from guys saying that I was making that shit up and all that, and I'm like, I'm not. It's actually a thing. So I don't know.
You're just doing it for attention.
Right?
Like, yes, I love being told to go kill myself or to go make a
like,
sandwich
well,
because I want attention.
Them. And I'm like, you know, like, how many comments do you get like that every day when you're playing? You don't know how it is until like you experience it.
I've had a conversation, I actually probably with a couple of people at this point, where they say that like, well, you know, just because you're a girl doesn't mean that you get more comments thrown at you. Like, the people who are saying sexist things to you, those are the same people that are saying mean things to me. And I'm like, okay, that is like not true. First of all, like, you know, just because they're saying sexist things to me doesn't mean that's the same kind of person that's going to be toxic to you and say that you're bad. Chances are, yeah, maybe they would. There's a higher chance that that's the same kind of person. But they're like, it's just so much easier for them to pick on the solo queue girl versus, you know, if they think your DPS is bad. And I also think that it's a different feeling. It's like a different experience to be targeted because you're a girl versus because you fucked up your Genji blade. You know, like it's not the same kind of, you know, toxicity. Those are two different experiences.
Exactly, yeah.
Because you're attacking a person for who they are and not their skill or lack thereof.
Mm-hmm. Like you're attacking them for like something they can't change. Like if they attack your gameplay, you're like, okay, I'll just work at it and get better. But like, oh, you're just a girl, you suck. And it's like, okay, well, can't do anything about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's unfortunate that there's, you know, people who kind of can't really see outside their little bubble, but that happens to all of us to some extent or another, so I'm gonna try not to judge there. But, you know, for anyone that's listening and who's like, oh, well, you know, I get shit on too, and I'm not a girl and I get shit on, and it's like, okay, yeah, I get that, and that sucks, and you should not have to go through that, but you do have to like kind of maybe be willing to open your eyes a little bit and see that, you know, for women, we do get more shit, and the shit we get is it's different. It's not the same as,
Yeah.
you know, getting your skill question.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was saying, like if you get shit because they say like, oh, you can't snipe, or like you keep dying and stuff like that. It's not the same as like you're a girl, so you suck. Like
Yeah, and like I hate bringing this up because it's, you know, takes things a little seriously, but like you know, my personal experiences, and I know experiences with, you know, other women too, you know, like we've had stuff where like we get threatened with things like rape or like,
Yes.
you know, things that are just super inappropriate and uncomfortable and immediately put you in this like headspace where you're not going to play well for the rest of that game because something really horrible was just said to you.
Yeah,
you know, and
it
it's
completely like just messes with your head.
And that's what I was going to mention. This whole entire time we're talking about it, we've never once repeated what has been said to us. It's that bad that like we just have to generally, we're like, yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
Like there's
we
so
don't
many
want to say exactly what it
yeah,
is.
and if we can't even repeat back the words that are being said to us, that's kind of telling. Like Amna had to preface it with like, well, I don't want to say this word, but they would say that. And that word is thrown around rampantly.
Oh, yes, definitely. Like, that's why I said earlier, I was like, oh, I don't want a girl to, like, tell me how to play. People are like, oh, it's not that bad. But I mean, that's not exactly how it was said, but I don't want to say it.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets pretty bad. And again, I'm not saying that for, you know, other people playing that there aren't bad things said to you. I'm sure there are. But as a woman, it's just we're quote unquote seen as being easier targets, and so we get more of that, and it gets pretty gross.
I think the only times where it doesn't happen is if I'm queuing from like a bunch of girls from my team and we're like 3 or 4 girls, and the guys are gonna be like nicer because they're like, oh, I'm surrounded by them, so maybe like I should behave or something. I don't know.
I've had that backfire one time. Well, it was me and this other girl. We were both solo queued, so we didn't know each other, but then all the other guys in voice decided to create this sexual fantasy between me and this other girl. It was absolutely horrifyingly disgusting and uncomfortable and horrible.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's great when there's another girl in VC, but like I said, I've had that backfire, so.
Or how about even Eris was in a tournament, like the open division tournament, and we go into a scrim, they find out that we're all girls, and they're asking for Snapchats, and they're saying inappropriate things. This is a scrim. This isn't random queuing. And then just totally disrespectful the moment they find out that we're women. And that's discouraging. You finally find this space where, like, at least in scrims, you can have fun and you're not getting that toxicity. And now we are.
Yeah, I've had that happen on Team Nightshade, too, when they found out we were all girls. I had spilled my water on my desk because that was something I used to do for God knows what reason. And so our coach said, oh, hold on. One of our players, she accidentally spilled water on her desk. And they're like, wait, your DPS is a girl? And then I think someone on the team said something like, yeah, we're all girls. And oh my God, it was just, or I think it was the coach that said that or something. I don't know. Something happened where they figured it out. Mm-hmm. And they just started making all these horrible sexual disgusting thing. They started typing in chat, and our coach was like, you need to stop this right now, and they didn't, so we all had to just leave the scrim. Like it was horrible that they couldn't handle the fact that this was a team full of girls. Like
yeah, sometimes it's weird also, like I'm gonna be playing comp and then like as soon as I say something I get a friend request, and it's like, did you just send me a friend request just because I'm a girl? So like it's just weird sometimes. Like I don't know.
I think I think I could quit my job if I got $1 for every time that happened, honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's bizarre. I mean, like,
and it's
I just don't understand how that's your mind frame of like, and I get it. It's not every person in the world reacts this way, but to me, I can't imagine reacting that way to another person. Like, you know, you don't see women doing that in games going, oh my God, it's a boy!
Right?
Oh my God! Like, it's just,
that'd
like,
be, like
asinine.
ridiculous, right?
It's utterly stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think there are a lot more girls that play this game than people realize. We just don't use comms because we don't want to go through all the stuff we've been talking about.
Yeah, I think also since it's a Blizzard game, a lot of people coming from like World of Warcraft. Like, I mean, there's a lot of girls that play World of Warcraft also, but like not as much as Overwatch. So I've noticed like people always assume that you're a guy until like they hear you talk on Discord or whatever. Usually like the way I go about it is like if the person's character in the game is a girl, I assume it's a girl. If it's a character is a guy, I assume it's a guy. But apparently like the way guys see it, they just assume it's a guy all the time because like there's a lot of guys that play female characters, and
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like we don't exist or something.
Honestly, this is why I have fully embraced having, like, what is probably seen as, like, a really, like, quote-unquote, like, girly battle tag. Because I know going in, like, if somebody responds just to my battle tag, I haven't even talked. I'm like, okay, that person's getting muted right now and blocked. And if they somehow manage to get in a word before I do either of these things, they are getting reported. The report button is my best friend.
I mean, I think like Nami sounds like a girl's name also, but like people always assume I'm a guy anyways. I'm like, okay, like, I don't know.
Yeah, no one knows how to pronounce mine, so I just get assumed as.
Demolargan.
Oh yeah, because it's like the long version.
I remember changing on Amna knows. I changed my name in DB back before because like I remember we had like a game night or something, and then she's like, I don't even remember how you said it, and then
Demi Laren.
or like. I think you put it all as like one word, like Demi. I don't even know. And I was like, I'm just gonna change my name to Demi. No, it's fine.
To Marilyn.
Yeah, to Marilyn.
There you go.
Oh my god.
And I was like, I'll just change this real quick.
That reminds me of
how oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say there was a tournament or something that got streamed forever ago when Fuyume was still an heiress, and the announcer kept saying her name Fuyume.
Oh
no! It was just like, oh god.
Oh, it was like I don't remember what it was, and they were pronouncing Genos. They were saying Yenos, and I was like,
oh Yenos
and Yoda.
Yeah, and I was like, have I been
Oh my
saying it
God.
wrong this whole time? Like I was confused.
Oh, I loved it.
Try to get back to DB. I want to know what are some of your favorite moments in Death Blossoms.
Oh my god.
There's so many.
You're asking me to go through like 2.5 years of memories.
Right?
Yeah, there's been a lot of good stuff. Jeez, I don't even know. Okay, I'd have to say, like, I really love when we put something together, like some crazy tournament, and we're all working our bums off, staying like up all night and just working as a team, doing everything we can to throw something together and make it work. Is, you know, like, I don't know, I love that experience of just being all in. And we've had that. We've held a couple relatively big tournaments where we've had that, you know, where everyone's just like working their asses off past midnight kind of thing. And like, even though you're like dying in that moment and like all you can see is death, right? Like in immediate retrospect, I would say it's actually like, it's something that is like, I don't know, I'm really proud of those moments because it's like, it's there's so much teamwork involved and chemistry and community, you know, and like all that stuff is necessary to pull something like that off. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
so I'd have to pick one of those moments.
Yeah, just getting that one comment afterwards of somebody saying, wow, that was a lot of fun. And like, you're like, we did it.
We win!
She just get one comment, it was worth it.
Honestly, this is going to sound crazy, Amna, that I'm going to probably pick this as one of my favorite times is we did a massive, like, kind of interview process.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Are you serious?
Oh my god! So let me tell you, Amna and I basically lived in a voice chat together.
Yes.
Okay.
Just days and hours, and like, I mean, how many interviews did we do? Like,
I don't even know. We were just like, it was literally, I wake up, all right, Debbie, you awake? Let's go all day.
by the end of it, Amna was just so delirious. And we're just doing like the last interview.
We were both. How are you gonna put that on me? That was both of us, okay?
By the last interview, we're just both laughing. I'm like, I'm so sorry. This usually doesn't go this way.
Yeah, we'd both just lost our marbles at that point. Yeah.
Oh, but it was
Both.
beautiful. And like just seeing how hard everybody worked like after that and like that's the stuff I love. And it's exhausting, but like it's putting love into it. I don't know. People don't realize how much goes on in like the background and like it's rewarding when even the time. So if anybody like ever has like a good or a bad thing to say, like we love that. We love getting feedback because we're putting our hearts into everything.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Linda? Just putting you on the
There's
spot.
too much. I think honestly, it's a I don't know. I didn't think about it beforehand. I mean, honestly, probably some of those early games with Eris, just getting to know everybody and just making friends. Because I came into this game, I bought it like maybe around, when was it? I bought it in like November 2016. So not like right after launch. And I was just looking for people to play with and just finding DB and making friends with all these people, especially my Eris girls, is probably like one of my fondest memories now and probably will be for the rest of my life.
Aww.
I agree. We're all like friends for life at this point, and like that's why seeing anybody who does any type of DB meetup is like it just warms my heart. I love it, and I mean, at this point I've gotten to meet Amna. I've met almost all of Eris. Linda, you're still on my list.
That's cool.
And I just remember being in Boston crying as Jodam's leaving. Like,
Aww.
those are just like moments I would have never had if it
Wait,
wasn't
you
for
didn't
people.
cry when I left. What the heck does that mean?
Hey, I woke up early for you.
It means the world when Demi's able to wake up early for something, Amna. You have to know that,
That's
right?
true. All right, I'll let it go.
But yeah, and that's, I mean, anytime, and like we see these friendships, there's been a DB marriage, like those things are just,
There was what?
Yeah.
yeah.
Wait, are we allowed to say that?
I don't
think
know.
we are. I don't know.
Is that like some super secret?
It's
No,
not
it's
secret,
not super
but
secret, but I mean, it's not our information to tell. I think.
I won't pry. It was just.
I'll just say that it's two TV members that were on the same team together, and it's freaking adorable, and they're married.
Aww.
And I love them both.
I never heard about that.
They're the cutest.
Aw.
What about you, Nami?
There's like so many, but I think it was probably when I formed like my new team because I love them. And I don't know, I just have like a lot of fun with my team all the time, and they always give me shit because I walk in every Junkrat trap
Oh my god!
all the time.
I've actually seen this meme, going around for a while now. Nami walking into traps.
Really?
Is it like Eterna, the one who's always like shaking her head at you or something?
Yes.
I think
I
it's,
remember once she wasn't there for some reason, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's a good thing she's not here." She would yell at me because I walked like right into a trap.
it's just like Amna falling off of ledges. We have Nami walking into traps.
Okay, look. I'm better at that now, okay? It doesn't happen nearly as often as it used to.
Okay, you could probably make like an hour-long compilation of me getting pinned by Reinhardt and screaming.
Wait, are you a Lucio player? What do you play, Linda?
I mostly main Moira now, but basically all supports except Zen and then some tanks every now and then. But I'm just really good at getting pinned by a charging Rein, and I don't know why.
Like, and sometimes they even warn me, they're like, trap, and I still walk into it. They're like, what are you doing?
Oh, God.
It's really bad. Like, it's to the point when there's a trap and I see it, I'm like, see, there's a trap, and then walk into it. Like, I have to, like, point it out.
Wow, that's pretty bad,
It's
Nami.
like an accomplishment, yes.
You're like, but I called it out before I stepped on it, so that's progress.
I feel I look everywhere except, like, at my feet. I never see them. I never look at the ground. I don't know why. It's really bad. Like, I'll spot, like, a widow in the corner, or, like, but I won't see a trap that's right in front of my feet. Like, I just can't see it for some reason. I'm not sure if we had any other things I want to talk about. What about you guys?
I mean, where do you see sorry, not to interrupt, but something that I'd like to hear both of you speak on if you have something to say is, like, where do you see DB going in the future? Like,
Oh, yeah.
I know that's a big, like, long-term kind of goal question, But like, what would you like to see in the future of DB?
That is a complex. Well, it's a simple question, but the answer is complex.
Yes.
Because Demi and we have a couple ideas that we've been kind of bouncing around, but I don't know if I want to get into it. Demi, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Regarding long-term stuff. For now, I would say, like, you know, we want to definitely continue to provide a safe place for women to play video games and have fun and not have to worry about, like, a lot of the crap they deal with in the normal gaming environment. But beyond that, you know, we do want to perhaps in the future look into some other games down the line. That's a possibility. Adding that into our community, or perhaps even creating like sister branches, that kind of thing. That could be a possibility.
Yeah, what I always like to kind of say is I always want DB to be like a home for people and for women to kind of feel like this is their home and what we have to offer will support them. So whether that's you like, oh, the one thing that brings us together is Overwatch. The other thing is that we're all women, but that doesn't mean that we don't have all of our own things. Some of us really want to focus being on teams. Some people really want to focus on streaming. Some people like writing, and we just love providing these different outlets for these women that we have this commonality with. So you're not just a woman. You're not just somebody that plays Overwatch. You have all of these different facets, and what can we do to provide a home for you and meet other people like you? And that's always been the core of DB, and that's why we don't like toxic members. We do have an activity requirement because we want everybody to embrace that. And what can we do? What resources can we give you to embrace what you want to do? And we have the means to do that. And that's why we love having tournaments for those people that are competitive, or these silly contests for people that like to carve a pumpkin or want to grow a plant or something. Just something that's not just Overwatch or just anything in general. And now this podcast, like, this is something you're passionate about and found a home for, and we want to facilitate that for you. So the more and more we get to see other members become passionate, that's what we're passionate about, and that's what we want to provide for other people.
Yeah, and if like other people have projects that they want to do, like, don't be shy and talk about it. I'm sure like people will be on board, and like, you know, like this podcast.
Yeah. And that's why everybody may think again like we're scary admins, or their idea might not be what like we're just gonna say no or anything. Like, we're very receptive to what our girls want, and that's like, we can't express enough. We have an open door, and we love all of the ideas that our girls have, and we wouldn't be where we are without a lot of that. So I'm excited to see where the podcast goes.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies, for joining us. It's been so much fun just chatting about DB with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much for putting this together, and I love the questions you've been asking, and the back and forth has been really good, so thank you.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And before we go, is there anything you guys want to plug, like social media or anything, like yours or DB or...
all DB. Again, deathblossoms.gg is our website. Check it out. It's super nice and beautiful, and you can see our teams and what we've got going on. And if anybody knows any other women that would find this as an enjoyable place to be, definitely let them know. We have our arms wide open.
Yep, you can also follow us on Twitter, deathblossomsgg. We have an application form on there as well, so yeah. And our Twitch as well is deathblossomsgg.
That's a fun one, so everybody can see all of our shenanigans and Pug Night and our tourneys.
Pug Night, best night.
It's a YouTube channel also, right? I think like the podcast is gonna be uploaded on there as well.
Yep.
Yes.
Some people might be listening on there right now. I also wanted to thank everyone who helped make this podcast a thing. I want to thank Genos for coming up with the name.
Oh, Genos came up with the name?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It was
so
technically a combined effort from Genos
Was it?
And Kaitis. Okay, I have
Kaitis,
to throw
Don't
his
give
name out
Kaitis
there.
credit for anything.
Okay, I know we don't want to give him credit. I'm just saying he did have a little bit to do with it.
I love you,
thank
Kaitis.
everyone. And also, I want to thank my friend Dave for making the music for the podcast. You can find his stuff at Dave Does Music on YouTube, so check it out. And I think that's it for today's episode. I hope everyone had fun.
Yes.
Yep. Thanks for
Hell yeah.
listening, guys. And
Thank you
Nami,
for
Lynnda, you guys are wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks everyone for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Ta-ta.
Bye.